Weather is undoubtedly one of the most powerful features built in the Garmin GPS series units. However, it is probably one of the most misunderstood features. In this video, I'm going to show you where weather lives in a Garmin GPS. I'll show you how to access it, and most importantly, how to interpret it to make sure you make good decisions while flying. I'll be using a GNX 375 for demonstration purposes on this video, but the workflow will be the exact same for a GPS 175 and a GNC 355. Just make sure you're connected to an ADS-B in receiver on those units to make sure you're dealing with the same data that I have here. Today, you're going to see weather in 3 places. We'll start with the main map overlays, and then we'll move to the dedicated FIS-B weather page, and then we can move to the waypoint information screen that'll show us weather about a specific airport. Let's start with the main map overlays because that's typically what pilots will see first. So if we want to access the map, we can just click on Map, and then weather settings can be accessed through the menu. Now you'll see this first page doesn't have much to do with weather, so we can scroll over to page 2, and you'll see that this is where the weather-related information lives. We have 3 main topics here. We have NEXRAD, lightning, and the METAR flags. Beginning our discussion with NEXRAD, you'll see that we have a couple of different options. We can turn it off, so then we don't view any overlay. And then we have ConUS and Regional. ConUS is going to show you a lower resolution image for the entire continental United States, whereas Regional is going to show you a higher resolution image within 250 nautical miles of your weather reporting station. So essentially, if you're doing a long cross country and you want to get a good grasp of what the weather looks like across the country, flip it to ConUS and take a look. But if you get to the point where you're getting closer to storms, I would recommend switching it to Regional if you're within the coverage area, and then you can view them in a higher resolution. So if we turn this on, we can activate continental United States, we can back up, and you can see that there are some weather cells down here in the south. So we can zoom in and see this mosaic of precipitation data like you would expect, and very similar to what you'd see on like weather.com or the weather app on your iPhone. You have green for light precipitation, and then as it gets more intense, it turns yellow, then orange, and then red. Like I said, this is pretty simple. Stay out of the intense precipitation and you should be pretty good to go. Now, regional coverage is a little funky on the simulator, but I will go ahead and turn it on so you can see what we're talking about. So flipping it to regional, you'll see that we now have this circle here. Now, it is shaded black because we don't have coverage. It's just very strange, but this is essentially what you would see is you'd see this dashed line in a 250 nautical mile radius around the station that you're reading. And you'll know that anything within here has a high resolution radar image and anything outside is not being shown. So just keep that in mind. The next overlay that I want to talk about are the METAR flags. So we can go ahead and turn this on now. And these in the simulator only work in the Pacific Northwest. So we can move over here and you'll see that there are different colored flags for different situations, for different weather conditions at the different airports. So blue is VFR, green is marginal VFR, yellow is IFR, purple is low IFR, and gray means that there's some sort of weather information that's missing from, typically it's either cloud coverage or visibility to determine what the weather conditions are at that area. If you want to view information about an airport, just tap on a flag. We may have to zoom in here. If you want to view the information, just tap on a flag, view it here, and here's your METAR. So it's going to start with a date and time, as most METARs do, and here it'll show if it's been automated or if it's been uploaded from like an ATIS information from Tower. And you can view just your decoded METAR right here. If we scroll down, you can see the raw text report here, so if you'd rather view that information, it is available. And then even further down, if there is a TAF available for that airport, you can view the raw text version of the TAF right here, and it tells you that the source is via the FIS-B network. So like I said, there are different colored flags that you can view. So here is a purple flag signifying low IFR, and we can verify that with our visibility and our low cloud layer. So this is just a really handy tool, very similar to what you'd view on Garmin Pilot to give you just a quick picture of what conditions are like at airports. The last overlay that is available to us is the lightning overlay, which unfortunately doesn't work on the simulator. But what you can do is you can turn it on here, and it's especially powerful when combined with NEXRAD, and it'll show you what storm cells are active. So it will show individual strikes or it will show clusters of lightning strike activity. It is important to note that with all of these different FIS-B weather options, they are not real time. Oftentimes there's a delay and it could be up to 15 minutes old, which can be pretty significant if a storm is moving pretty quickly. So no, don't use the lightning overlays as you would a storm scope for actively navigating around storms, but it is just a good feature to have, especially if it's the only weather source that you have available to you in the cockpit. Now, these overlays are good for getting basic weather data mixed with your nav information, but we can dive into it in a little more detail via the dedicated weather page. So we'll hit the home button and we'll go to the FIS-B weather page, and you'll see another map, but it just has less information from a navigational standpoint. Once again, clicking menu will allow us to view the different overlays, and you'll see that we have a couple of new and unique features that we didn't have available to us on the main map. Now, NEXRAD is going to function the exact same as the main map, with the addition of the fact that you can now combine ConUS and regional coverage. So what that's going to do is show you the low resolution image for the entire US and stack that high resolution image on top within your regional coverage range. So that is handy for getting a comprehensive and accurate picture all in one page like the GTNs do on the main map, but just note that in order to access this feature, you have to go to the dedicated weather page. Now we can also enable cloud tops, which is a new and super handy overlay available to this map. So once again, I'll need to go to the Pacific Northwest for this, but you'll be able to view it for your entire local area, wherever you're at. And you'll see that we'll have this graphical representation of what the clouds look like. Now, the best part about this is we can click on a cloud layer and view the tops of it right here. So you'll see that it's dynamic, and as we click around to different cloud tops, the altitude changes. Now the shading also changes with the altitude, so it just gives you a good picture, and this is a great tool for figuring out, okay, if I'm flying VFR, can I safely get on top or not? Because if the cloud tops are over your service ceiling or higher than what you want to fly, I'd probably recommend staying underneath the cloud layer. Now the lightning function is the exact same as the map overlay once again, but it also doesn't work on this page, so we will go ahead and scroll over to page 2, and we can talk about icing. Now, icing is pretty cool, but there is another step that you have to do here, and you have to select your altitude chunk. So you'll see it's going to show us from 2,000 feet, and we can jump up in 2,000-foot intervals until we start finding some icing information. So you'll pretty much just want to select whatever altitude chunk you're going to cruise at, and then now you can kind of get a good gauge of what the icing conditions look like in the area. So it's the same thing as the NEXRAD overlays. The lighter shaded colors mean lighter icing. As it gets darker, it gets more intense. And then these little red dots indicate SLD, or super cool large droplets of water. That's a big threat, meaning that you will pick up ice very rapidly, so you definitely want to stay out of that area. So the next feature that I want to talk about are the winds and temperatures aloft barbs. So we can go back here. Once again, go back to the PNW. And you'll see that there's nothing, but that's because we're at 1,000 feet, and that's below ground level, so we need to increase our altitude until these winds aloft barbs start to populate. So now we'll see as we increase our 3,000 foot chunks, we can view these barbs, and they are the traditional NOAA barbs. So what I would call the tail of the barb actually faces into the wind, and then the length and the number of fins on the tail indicate the strength of the wind. So this will indicate winds out of the west at 20 knots, and the temperature up there is 3 degrees Celsius. So you'll see as we increase our altitude chunk, the wind gets stronger, temperature gets colder, as we would expect. So it's just another good graphical representation of what the winds aloft are doing. So my next overlay is going to be the pilot reports. So we can enable PIREPs here, go back to the map, and you'll see that we have two different colors. We have blue for routine PIREPs, and we have yellow for urgent PIREPs. To view what the information is about, just click on the pilot report, and you can view the decoded report right here. So we've got a CRJ, just doing a routine, no turbulent pilot report at 10,000 feet. Or we can come over here and we can click on this urgent one, which stands out on the map. And you'll see we've got a Hawker 25 reporting low level wind shear plus or minus 10 knots. So that's good information to know. If you want to view PIREPs at any time, just enable this overlay. Turbulence is another really good map. And what we'll need to do is select our altitude chunk. And you'll see that it's very bright and in your face, but it's kind of a similar thing to precipitation, whereas green is going to be mild, and then yellow, orange, and red is going to increase the intensity. Just important to make sure that you don't mix this up with precipitation and think that there's a bunch of rain here when it's really just turbulent conditions. So there's another great representation to figure out what altitude you want to cruise at for your calmest ride. You can increase those chunks and just figure out where you want to go. So lastly, we have what I would call the advisories. It's going to group METAR, SIGMET, center weather advisory, and GAirMets all into one because they all kind of do the same thing. Now you'll see when we go back to the map, it's going to make it pretty scary. So you're not going to want all these turned on at once, but we'll see where the flags operate the exact same as the weather map for the METARs. And then all of these GAirMets are available different colors based off of what the AirMet is about. And then you can view kind of the time and the altitude chunks for these AirMets. Another thing that's important to remember is that you can filter these even further. So I know since there's a lot of them, you can only enable just the ones that you want to see. So if we only want to view freezing level AirMets, we can back out of here and come to the map and just see those. So then we click on it and still view what our altitude level is for the GAirMet. Now we also have the center weather advisory, which can be viewed here. So these are specific to ADS-B. It's just going to be generalized weather information. And then if we want to view a SIGMET, we can also do that right here and view our raw text version of a SIGMET like you're used to on aviationweather.gov. So it's important to remember that this page can be a great supplement and can be used for planning and risk analysis, but be careful when using it for, say, active navigation around icing conditions or around storms, just because of that ADS-B delay that we talked about. This is in no way any substitute to talking to flight service or talking to ATC in the middle of your flight and getting real-time updates and advisories. Now, the last place that we can view weather-related information for this is going to be through the airport information page. So we can go there by going back to the map, and we can just find an airport on the map and click on waypoint info here. Or we can go to our nearest list and view the nearest airports. Or if we want to look one up, we can go to waypoint info, go to airport, and let's pull up like Portland. So I can go K, P, and I've got Portland pulled up, and then we can just hit weather data. Now here, you'll be able to view the exact same information that was available through the METAR flag. So we've got our decoded METAR, we've got our raw text METAR right here, and then we've got our TAF. So this is very nice for if you know exactly what airport you want to go to, search it, look it up right away without having to search on it through the map. Now this is important because as far as ADS-B weather goes, METARs are probably the most up-to-date current information. So they're still going to update on the slower window that the rest of ADS-B weather information comes in, but this is going to be the exact condition. So if you're out of range of ATIS, this is probably your next best bet. Now there's one little caveat here. So if weather information is either not showing up or you kind of question its accuracy or its age, you can check the age of your product status by going Home, System, ADS-B status, and FIS-B weather status. Here you can see that there are the product types and they're color-coded based off of their availability. So if they're grayed out, they're unavailable. If they're white, they're awaiting new data. And if they're green, that means the data is available and it's current. Another place that you can view the raw text reports is here. So you can look at it by TAF. It's just not a very friendly list because you have to scroll through the list to view that same TAF information. So this page is great for if you just stumble upon a weather source that you think doesn't look right. Just come here, make sure it's active or make sure it's current, and you're good to go. Okay, so here's the big picture. The map overlays let you get a general analysis of what the current weather situation looks like. If you want more detailed information, go to the FIS-B weather page to analyze trends and risk. And lastly, the waypoint weather page allows you to make airport-specific weather decisions. ADS-B weather is an incredibly powerful tool, and I quite like it because there's no monthly subscription. It's free if you're within the continental United States. Once you understand where to look and how to interpret what you're seeing, this becomes a very powerful tool in the cockpit. I think that wraps it up for this video. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch it. If you want to view more information, I've got full-length GPS tutorials on my channel, and I've even got a 5-minute mastery series for those who don't have a lot of time. Thanks again for watching this video. I'm Cam Carr, and we will see you in the next video.